Hi.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to a exploratory bowl of dude soup. I probably already used that one. I don't even know. We are joined by Brian from Crystal Dynamics, who's the game director on Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, Brian.
Hi, Brian. See you guys.
Hi.
Thanks for coming.
Back here.
You look forward and forward only.
All right, I will look forward.
You play video game.
So, what segment are you going to show us from Rise today?
So we figured, it's Rise of the Tomb Raider. What better piece of content to show than a tomb? So Rise of the Tomb Raider is a commitment to bring Lara back to the tombs, and this is the first one
She's not looking so hot right now.
Well, she just recently had an encounter with Trinity, and to set up where she's at, a helicopter has shot down her Jeep. Her Jeep crashed, and now she slid down a mountain, and she's at the precipice of discovering this tomb. So there's already stakes and a threat on her way to find the Prophet's tomb.
Did the tombs kind of take the same mechanical role they did in, I don't want to say the original Tomb Raider, but the most recent Tomb Raider, where essentially it's this side puzzle-based exploration thing, and then you get some kind of really cool upgrade at the end of it?
Yeah, well, this is one of our primary tombs, so every single tomb is going to have a reward of some kind. This one actually has a big narrative payoff, as well as some exploration that you're going to be able to do within the tomb itself. We're going to learn a new translation system, and there's a number of things that we introduced in this tomb, but every single tomb is going to have at least a narrative payload to further the story, or it's going to have a really cool upgrade. And this time, every single one of our challenge tombs has a skill that is an ancient skill, something that makes sense that you'd find in an old space that she'll add to her arsenal. So it's a pretty cool method to deliver new cool stuff.
Very cool.
When it comes to doing sequels, because I know when the first game came out, it was met with a bunch of different types of criticism and actually a lot of praise. I think James and I were two of the guys who were like, hey, it's really fun and it's better than other games that are kind of in a similar genre. What's the kind of the thought process going into a sequel? Because I know the original series, at least in my opinion, was it just got hit with so many sequels. I couldn't tell the difference between Angel of Darkness and 3 Gold Edition Part 4.
Then it got rebooted, and then rebooted again.
Are you guys being a lot more careful, or are you just kind of let's just do whatever we want?
Well, the reboot established a whole new set of criteria under a very familiar banner of we wanted to make an action-adventure game, something that is obviously heart of every Tomb Raider adventure. But we wanted to ground it a little bit more. We wanted Lara to feel that she had a little bit more gravitas and weight as a character, and that what better way to do that than tell an origin story? So with the origin story, you're able to start Lara at a place where she might have these abilities, but not the experience. So what we knew we wanted to do with the sequel was build on the experiences she had on Yamatai, that she understands the world is dangerous, and that there's this world of secrets that she's uncovered that she can't understand yet, and she hasn't fully been able to explain. So when she comes back from this event, no one really believes her. No one. This sort of cover-up has happened, and the events on Yamatai are called into question. And she's looking for evidence elsewhere in the world that has similar kinds of MOs. So she finds this myth that her father was exploring, which was the secret of immortality and the lost city of Katesh. And that's sort of what takes her on this journey, is picking up where he left off, and hopefully trying to prove that the events that she experienced on Yamatai weren't a singular experience.
So for me, with the previous Tomb Raider game, I had some very, I don't know what the word is, but interesting opinions on it. I loved it. I thought it was great. Cool. And I've compared it to other games that are very similar, kind of like Adam said.
Madden.
I'll preface this by saying these opinions are my own.
Sure,
and so you don't have to agree or disagree or whatever.
NBA Jam.
But I've often described it as the best Uncharted game.
Yeah.
And so obviously that's a beloved franchise, but for me, Tomb Raider was it didn't bury itself so much in trying to tell this narrative or be this cinematic experience where every single opportunity it had to be a game, it always chose to be a game. So obviously you just said there's a lot of plot going into this, a lot of narrative, but how much of that did you balance out with just treating it like a game that you're supposed to play?
Jesus Christ, dude. This game's really pretty.
Thank you.
It's
thank
also
you.
really pretty.
You're doing these sweeping angles. I'm like, oh.
Well, really, we want to make sure that we're doing two things. We're delivering on the idea of
All that soft lighting. You got Vaseline all over the camera.
yeah, we've got a really nice new light. Sorry, I'm gonna bounce around a little bit. I'll answer your question. This is a brand new graphics engine for us. It takes full advantage of the power of the Xbox One with image-based lighting, brand new shaders, new believable animation system that's really bringing Lara to the next level. But behind all those graphics and bells and whistles, we want to make a great game. So you talked about the systems, like we introduced, RPG sort of progression systems to the game, something we've never had before, and we're sort of bringing that to another level. So here we're talking about our translation system, where she's going to go around the world, look at these murals, and it's going to start to build onto her translation experience. So she's learning a little bit more of this ancient Greek language that will eventually allow her to translate this monolith. And that was one of the new additions we've had. In addition to really making sure that our campsite system is even more robust. Not only are you going to have just one bow, you're going to have multiple bows. And depending on your strategy, we wanted the player to have a choice on how they go about combat. We're giving you new traversal abilities. We're giving, which allows for more stealth options. And a lot of people really like our sort of stealth light, and we call it our pre-combat awareness, where you can choose to go in and be a little stealthy before going full-on combat. And now we're making sure that there's even more tools for the player to do that. So not every single combat will be able to be done through stealth, but a lot of them we're going to add this choice space to it. So I'm going to translate one more mural here. I think I have enough. Yep, I think I should have enough here. And now I'm going to be able to translate this monolith. What's great about that is it's not just a cool archaeological thing, which is key to the franchise, but it also allows you to uncover these hidden caches throughout the world. So it's now uncover this location, be able to dig that up.
You guys seem to be really doubling down on sort of the tomb aspect of Tomb Raider, whereas like I was talking about like the previous franchise, like I think at one point she was just like at a cocktail party and like jumped in on a motorcycle. It was like the name.
You're speaking of Legend.
Is that the one? Okay,
Yes.
yeah. I remember it just got. I remember there was a quick time event where like I smashed my face against a building or something. And
Yeah, it was
funny.
awesome.
Yeah, it was great. But it's just you guys seem to be definitely focusing on I guess what made Tomb Raider kind of like a household name was like you're exploring your female Indiana Jones. Like you should embrace that.
Yeah,
Are you guys driving back to that? Because I remember the original Lara, like she had a mansion, she just traveled the world for fun.
She had a
like
butler in the freezer.
Yeah, it was fucking awesome. And I remember being really attracted is the wrong word, but interested in that character because that didn't really exist in the game space at the time. Just like an awesome chick who's rich and likes blowing shit up and going and finding cool stuff. And
there was a lot of people that compared it to like a female James Bond, where she traveled the world, had this exotic kind of adventure, and we've often lovingly said it's the Teflon Lara, like nothing could hurt her. She was a superhero in some ways, but she was very aspirational. People wanted to be her. They liked her. That's why she rose to be one of the most iconic heroes in the games industry. But we knew that the tastes of gamers from the 90s are not the same taste of those from now, and we were able to translate the idea of what Lara Croft is, boil her down to her essence. She's a smart character, she's agile, she has this determination and a love for archaeology, and that archaeology then can manifest in these ancient secrets that are lost to the world. They're hidden in the most remote and hostile places on Earth, and if anyone could find them, they would be discovered by now. But Lara is uniquely qualified. She has this drive inside to find these truths, and she will go through a lot to do it. So that's where our survival flavor made perfect sense for what it really means to be an archaeologist finding ancient secrets. It's not a safe sport, and it's not a sport at all. It actually becomes a calling for Lara. She realizes that she's dipped her toe into something, a bigger world that's very dangerous, and she's gonna have to put her life on the line if she wants to find these secrets.
How often are these searching for these secrets going to entail her getting punctured through the bottom of the chin by a sharp branch?
Well, I can say that you can't have drama without consequences, right? So we talk about bringing traps back to tombs, and people are very excited about that because there's a nostalgic idea of like people that wanted to protect these secrets are going to booby trap these areas. So if you fail to perform your an evasion or shooting out a trap, there are going to be consequences. But we always try to make sure they're grounded as much as we possibly can into something that you can, I understand why I failed there, and either you kind of get a thrill from that, or you go, man, I'm never going to do that again. I'm going to make sure I'm going to perform that better, so I don't have to see Lara die in a horrible way.
Yeah.
I'd love to see her evil twin, Dara.
Yeah,
Dara. You just send her. You go to the traps.
it's early, guys.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. Not making fun.
That's all right.
No. I was actually going back to like kind of the story about the question. Like, I've always heard different sides of like game development. It's always very fascinating, especially to us. Like, kind of look behind the curtain. But like when it comes to a new game like this, are you guys writing the story and working on the gameplay and everything in tandem, or does one take precedence over the other?
It is absolutely a process where we work together as a group. It's collaborative. It is iterative. There is not, you just author a story and you make a game, or you make a game, you fit a story around it. It has to all work together.
Yeah.
This is a great moment. By the way.
this is pretty cool.
It's covered in scorpions.
I'm just waiting for skeletons to just fall on her.
I love skeleton scares, by the way.
Yeah, these are your classic, tropes that people just love to see in an action adventure game. Is like going into a tight claustrophobic space with hundreds of creepy crawlies.
Like, people love it. There's one guy just like,
I'm dying.
Love scorpions. I'm curious because you were kind of mentioning that with Indiana Jones and previous Tomb Raider games, you kind of had this legacy of tropes that come to like action adventure.
Sure.
I know, like one of them is you like uncover these ancient secrets, but you also knock it all over along the way.
Sure.
And I kind of like that's still intact. Laura was just fucking decimating those ruins while running along them. But do you guys have like a list of things that you want to stick in? Is there like a writer's room where everybody's talking about their favorite moments from like Romancing the Stone? And they're like, oh, we could put a twist on that in this game.
Yeah, we often look at films and TV and all kinds of media for inspiration, but ultimately look back at our source material and we try to make sure that we're being true to the character. Where do we think Lara would want to go, and how do we want to evolve her story? And there's a number of influences that sort of help us define what it is that is going to be the next great adventure for Lara. And one of the things we looked at was we touched on the idea of immortality, and we wanted to continue that theme. And we looked at all the media around immortality, and there's very little known about the lost city of Katesh, which is actually built on a Russian myth. And we felt like that would be a great place for us to build our own fiction on, is something that's not so well known. But yet, if you guys know Voldemort, the idea of a guy who hides his soul in multiple sort of vessels, that is the myth that sort of inspired us to create this idea of a deathless prophet that had his immortal soul, and it was tied to an object. So we use some of these classic myths that have been reinterpreted through modern lens, and but we're going to the root of it and telling a story that not many people get to see.
Yeah. That's the thing I really liked about the original Tomb Raider. Like, as much as, it is a video game and it is fun and there are parts of it that will feel supernatural, it did always have like a sense of being grounded.
Sure.
It never really felt too cartoony, but like at the same time, like at the end of the day, it looks like you guys realize, yes, it's a video game and it needs to be fun, and fun is important, and it is a fun game.
It's these types of puzzles from the previous game I always really enjoyed, because if you just look at them, it's like I have no idea. It's not like you press a button and then like it highlights this thing or whatever. It actually reminds me a lot of like Half-Life, like a Half-Life 2 puzzle where it's like you are in a room with a bunch of barrels. Figure it out, you know, like.
And physics puzzles have been a staple of the Crystal Dynamics recipe of trying to make real as much as possible the activities that you're going to do. It's a way to contextualize them in the world and build them off of things you might understand. So like I just shot down this platform, right? And we call this our puzzle nugget. It's just getting the player around the concepts that we're about to introduce for the main puzzle. So I'm still too low. I haven't figured that out. And you see this sort of spout of water here.
What could it mean?
What could it mean? And then we've introduced the idea of her smashing through walls, and now that wall has water through it. So we introduce ideas and concepts, and then we start to build on them. And in this way, a classic one for Tomb Raider is Rising Water. I mean, that some of my fondest memories are of Tomb Raider, the original game, and rising and lowering water to make your way through that St. Francis.
She squeezed out her hair.
Yeah,
she did.
Keeps her hair clean.
She did. So we look back to our classics as an inspiration, but we try to make sure that we're grounding them in as much as possible into feasible, physics-based activities.
I'm curious. That's Trap.
Oh, she'll be fine.
That's Trap.
Nothing bad has ever happened to New Lara.
No.
Oh, you're gonna.
I'm a terrible shot.
You're gonna let it happen?
No! Oh,
no! God, why?
You let that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I let that
She
happen.
panicked.
Jesus, the slow death animation is the worst.
Has anyone at Crystal Dynamics ever seen it was a show called Spaced? It was the guys who made Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
There's a scene I remember. It was kind of cool. It was when I saw that video games were like kind of a, definitely a part of pop culture, but there's a part where one of the characters is going through depression and he's just letting Lara Croft drown. and like one of the guys walks in, he's like, she's drowning. He's like, I know. I want this to happen because his girlfriend just dumped him or something like that. And it was just such a throwaway joke, but I remember being like, oh.
So it's like therapy for him.
Yeah, but it was I think Tomb Raider was one of those games, it's been around, has it been 20 years now?
We are 19 years, next year will be the 20th anniversary of the original Tomb Raider game, and that's a big deal for our industry. I mean, there's not many games, Mario, you could think of Zelda, Mario.
Yeah, but you guys have one more movie over Mario.
Yeah.
So that's important.
We do have that. But yeah, there's not many video games that go 20 years, and our job is to make sure that we're being good stewards of the franchise. And our developers are big fans of Tomb Raider, but we also know that we want to continue pushing the gameplay and the character forward. So we hope that we can make as much as possible the fans of the classics happy with what we're doing, the decisions we're making, but also hopefully get a whole new crop of fans that might have never played the classic games. So
we haven't seen any yet, but I'm curious how much combat. Like obviously with tombs and stuff, you wouldn't expect there to be lots of armed soldiers waiting in a tomb that hasn't been opened for like 1,000 years. But how much of the actual combat are we going to see in this game? Because that was something I actually really enjoyed.
Yeah, the combat loop is definitely important to us. It's one of our thirds. If you think about the pillars of Tomb Raider, you have your exploration, you have your puzzle solving, and of course you have your combat.
Backflipping over dinosaurs?
Yeah, there's no dinosaurs in this game, I can tell you that right now. But what I will say is that we have improved our AI considerably. So not only do you have, as a player, more options for stealth, but they are much better at detecting when someone is trying to mess with them. So in the last game, you could shoot an arrow and they go, oh, there's something over here, and they sit over that arrow forever until you killed them.
Yeah.
Now they'll look at the arrow and say, wait a second, there's an arrow here. Someone's messing with us. All right, everyone do a sweep. There's someone in the area. So you've got this idea that I can start to mess with the AI and move them around, but there are going to be consequences for me creating a distraction, and I have to move. I have to use my mobility and deal with them, either evade them or find a way to take them out silently, or I can make a choice to go straight ahead and do the combat, run and gun. So it really comes down to your player preference on how you like to play combat that we wanted to try to reinforce on this game.
I always, one of the things, this isn't really much of a question, but more of a praise, but I remember the cover system was one of the things that, it was the first thing that got my attention. A friend of mine did a review, and they were like going crazy about the cover system. I'm like, I'll give it a try. And it was like hands down, I think the best cover system I've used in a game where it just it felt natural and it just worked. I don't know. I mean, I can't think of any improvements you guys could have made to that, or was there any changes there?
Yeah, the fluid cover system was something that we iterated on quite a bit on the last Tomb Raider game, and we've taken that and we basically maintained it as it was. But what we try to do is let you do more while in cover. So there are more objects you can pick up and throw, and that was a big addition, is we want to give you more tools to play with. In addition to your bow and shooting an arrow for distractions, we wanted to give distraction objects. We also wanted to give you objects that you could pick up and then craft on the fly. So that's another big thing we've invested in. So you're going to be able to see cans on the ground. You can pick it up and throw it as a distraction, or you can use the materials you've acquired in the world to create a portable explosive or a Molotov cocktail. So those were big additions to the systems, is give you more to play with while in your cover system.
Yeah, well, one of my favorite things was how it felt like you would be in this environment, but it wasn't just like a battle arena. It wasn't just a big empty room with waist-high walls. It was like lots of scrap, and you wouldn't think that you could hide behind something, but then you actually could.
Yeah.
But then there'd be a bad guy hide something, and one of my favorite things was the bow with the rope.
Yes.
And so you'd just be like, sorry, bud, and you just pull down his cover, and then you'd shoot him. Can we expect more kinds of transforming environments and stuff like this in this one too?
Yeah, environment interactivity is definitely important to us. We want to give with those tools, we've now given you more options, and the bow rope is back, so you will see those coils in the background, and you'll be able to pull down support pillars, and you'll see a whole a platform they might be on fall down, and they'll fall down. So with one shot, you can take out multiple guys. So we want you to be creative. We want to embrace the idea that she's a smart combatant, and she's not all about headshot, for every enemy. That you can really use your strategy. The other thing we've done is we've added armors to the character, so you just can't headshot everyone. everyone. So we've also introduced new ammo types for the bows, for instance. You can craft poison arrows now. So when you have a guy with armor, I can create this poison arrow with an area of effect cloud burst, and that will take out not only one, but a couple of enemies in a localized space. So it's these kind of things that we've done to try to say, hey, I'm looking at my environment. These enemies are different classes and they're more formidable. I'm going to have to come up with a smart strategy to deal with them.
Was that based on just kind of like watching people play the previous game and looking at player behavior, or was it just something that maybe that was something you guys wanted to do in the previous game and you just didn't have time to get in there?
Yeah, well, we knew we wanted to do more crafting in the world, so everything you can do is contextualized. I will be able to craft now bandages to help speed up my healing. So before we had regenerative health. We've actually slowed that down, so it now takes a lot longer to heal. But what you can do is craft a bandage and craft on the fly. So that gives you fast healing that you're managing through your resources that you collect. Same thing with the poison arrows. Like every single resource I pick up, whether it be a mushroom or a piece of cloth or wood, they have different recipes, and then depending on how I use that resource, I can get different things. So we wanted to get this mix and match resource gathering that you then make strategic choices about how you wanted to do them. So there's a little bit of a trap combo.
Thank God.
Both of them go.
One of the things I liked about the original game is I think I always felt a connection to it because it kind of understood my neurotic need to collect things. And presumably that's what Tomb Raider is all about. You kick down the door to a tomb, you open all the treasure chests, you walk out with your arms laden down with gold shit. But by the end of the game, you could get those maps that would basically tell you where everything was. You just had to go and get it.
Yep.
Is that going to happen in this game too?
Yeah, so you're going to be able to find maps, and you'll be able to build, invest in skills. There's going to allow you to invest or to find everything you want to find in the game. So you have those obsessive collectors.
Oh, I need it.
And you want to be able to collect
I'm just going to look it up on YouTube anyway, man. Just put it in the game.
So you can buy skills that are going to, you'll get a map, but the map might not show everything. So you're going to have to buy a skill that would say, hey, I want to know where all the challenge objects are in the world, and then it will mark the challenge objects for you. So the skill system we've increased tremendously. So before there was a number of skills, and you had to sort of unlock X amount no matter you wanted that skill or not. Now we're letting you say, hey, I want to spend all of my time on the brawler skills. That's what I really care about. And we allow you to go all the way through the brawler skills without being encumbered by the other ones. So the skills, I think, have become a lot more fun to use because they cater to, once again, player choice and whatever you find to be most important. Okay, so I can, or choose not to, spoil this puzzle. I don't want to spoil the puzzle.
Okay.
But I will say that everything you've learned up until now, so you can see that there's a raft that I've shot down, but now we've got the idea of a current. So a current is draining. So the water will build, and then the water will fill, and then once it drains, the platform will go back. So we try to make sure that all of our puzzles escalate, and all the skills that I've learned before will have an impact on how I play the next stage, and sort of challenge my mind to say, all right, well, what am I trying to do? Where do I need to go? And how do I accomplish this? So unless we want to spoil, I'd rather not spoil.
If you don't want to spoil, it's fine.
You don't have to spoil.
I noticed you put all those like little floating bones and stuff in the water to telegraph the motion of the water.
Yeah.
Is that something that just you get through experience, or did you guys have to focus test all of these traps and then realize, oh, people don't know that the water's moving? We should just add some junk in there to telegraph that.
Yeah, we call that our flotsam, and flotsam was a big part of the last game to try to showcase currents. But what we always say is when people don't grok something, it's like, all right, add more flotsam. It's kind of like, it's one of our default things. We really feel that it's a big part of communicating the feedback of the currents. So there was like, a quarter of the bones in there before, and they're like, nope, add more bones.
Gotcha.
And that really helped, players understanding the concept of the current.
That was going back to the previous game, and something that looks like it's definitely apparent here is I like the pacing of Tomb Raider. Is one of those things that I really like, that it was like there was a nice balance of puzzles and combat. It actually felt like, I don't remember really what the balance was, maybe it was 50-50, but it always felt really well paced, and like I never really felt like I was just gunning people down for hours at a time. Like, I don't know, it was...
Yeah, pacing was something we paid a lot of attention to, and we continue to. Like, that is one of the things we sort of believe why our completion rates are so high, because we pace it in such a way where players don't feel fatigued. They feel like, I want to keep exploring, I want to keep going. And you try to, because Lara has this, and we're in this genre that allows you to find a rhythm with different styles of play that we can play with that pacing and control it within a traversal section, which allows you to open up in freedom, to combat, which might be a little bit more adrenaline, and then there's the puzzle solving, which is more cerebral. So I'm showing you guys a little bit of the fun things you can do to collect. A lot of people ask, well, this seems linear. Well, in these spaces, this being one of our smaller primary tombs, there's going to be a lot of things to collect, challenges to complete. And if you scour the environment, you'll find all of these XP crates, you'll find more journals, which is going to explain more about the story. And of course, you're going to be able to find these gold coin caches. And I can talk a little bit about that, which is exciting. So we've added a new economy to the game. So you find these gold coins, and there's going to be places throughout the game that you'll be able to purchase new upgrades. So you'll have, let's say, a special weapon that you're really interested in, or the ascender that you might have liked from the last game that allows you to zip up ropes really fast. These things will be available for purchase for those that spend the time translating the monolith, finding these gold coin caches, and then they'll be able to buy all these new things that they wouldn't have had naturally. So we have skills, we have our upgrades, we have weapon upgrades. We even have upgrades that allow you to hold more ammo or upgrade your quiver so you can hold more arrows. So there's just a lot of things that we're trying to feed into that encourages the player to explore, find things, and eventually just make their character as badass as you can make them.
And is this the kind of thing where, is this the only chance you'll get to visit this tomb? Do you have to be super thorough as you're going through?
No, we've allowed, once you've, this is not a place you can fast travel back to until you reach the end of the game, and then you'll be able to fast travel back to this location. But fast travel is a big element for us to allow for that exploration and reward. For those that say, hey, I've been to that place, but I know I didn't complete everything. Just go back to a campsite. You can fast travel back to an area, and you'll be able to complete your task, especially when you get things like the map. Like we just got a new map that allows us to see more of the things that we were missing. So I've got that map now. I know that there's a document I'm missing, and there's a challenge object that I can acquire. So
there's so many meters.
Yeah,
they gotta all be full.
And another thing that I can talk about too is we talked a little bit about crafting. There's going to be so many more elements that you'll be able to use for crafting, and once you have those elements, those choices, for instance, you could hunt a deer in the last game, but now I can actually find a deer pelt, and that pelt will be one of the ingredients I can use to upgrade my bow or my weapon, or create a new quiver. And then there are special resources that you can get too. So you're going to have primary resources, and there's special, unique resources that you can only find in certain areas at certain times. So that's a really exciting addition. And then what else can I tell you? We talk a little bit about tombs, but in addition to tombs, we've added from our exploration spaces crypts and caves, and those don't necessarily have puzzles, but they are fantastic for discovery and adding more story to the game. So expect when you get into these hubs, which are now 3 times the size of the last game, you're going to be able to find so many more things to discover just naturally. Instead of over-forcing the player to say, hey, look here, and here's a challenge tomb, we're going to let you just organically find them on the path.
I imagine that has to be kind of the challenge, it's not exactly an open world game, but it was sort of the first one was kind of this hybrid, where it had a pseudo hub world, and then you kind of moved around. But then guiding a player in a somewhat linear fashion of you need to move down this path if you want to progress in the game. I imagine with that and the puzzles and everything else, and then also having a progression system, it seems like the game has a lot that just keeps people going. I guess that's what you're talking about earlier with the completion rate.
We have high completion, and not only just story completion. We have a lot of people that 100% of the game, and we try to make sure that those activities are not just something I just have to do, but you're really compelled to find all of the things that make up the full comprehension of the story, and hopefully the secrets in this space. So that's about all I have to show today, but if you have any other questions, I'd love to answer them.
You mentioned Tomb Raider had a high completion rate. I'm curious, as a director, I'm sure that strokes your ego a little bit, that people liked your product enough to play through it, but how does that factor into the evaluation of a success of a game? Because you would think from a business level, you don't really care if they finish it or not, just that they bought it and that they buy the next one.
Well, what we're seeing is that people are engaged. They want to understand the story. They're compelled to know Lara's tale. And for a story-driven game like ours, where you really, you're trying to express that Lara's on this journey, you want players to go all the way to the end, so they have an idea of like, oh wow, that's really what happened, and that's how things resolved. Now, I will say, for those that haven't played the original Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider is a fine place to slot in. You're not going to be lost. There are some characters that we throw a nod to, like Jonah was in the last game, but this is really a standalone story. But we encourage everyone to go back and play the first Tomb Raider reboot as a means to really fully understand where Lara's at in her journey now. At this stage, this is a great time to get in if you've never played a Tomb Raider game. You're going to get a really nice completed story from beginning to end when you pop in the disc. And the other thing that's nice too is we've created some add-ons and some things that you can do in Season Pass that are taking the franchise with a little bit of a grain of salt. Like we're a very serious game. We tend to put a lot of drama into the character, but now we have the ability to create chicken bombs in post-game. Stuff that's not obviously something you'd put into the primary game. But if you're running around with Lara and she's got a head that's 4 times the size of her normal head and she's throwing chicken bombs, it's a pretty fun thing to do as a means to expand your play experience.
Cool. Well, I know this one's it's Xbox One exclusive, but you guys did a
360 as well.
Oh, awesome. Well, the other thing, I know you guys did a really good job of re-releasing the game. It was last year or the year before?
Yeah, the definitive edition.
Yeah, but it was good. Like if you missed it out on PC, like if you want anything kind of similar to that experience, I think the PS4 and the Xbox One editions were very nice upgrades. Like you got some nice, pretty hair effects.
Yeah, and it gave us the opportunity to really understand a little bit more about the technology that we were going to be going into. There was a lot of lessons learned, but we put so much more into the technology. The graphics engine has really been changed since definitive edition. The lighting engine's been rewritten, and there's so many features that we've added to make sure that Lara performs better. And also, I've spent a lot of time just discussing the gameplay upgrades. So it's all those things that we built on for the definitive edition.
Cool. Well, we just had a fun, hard computer crash there, but thanks for coming by, man.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, my heart's dying right now.
Very cool.
Oh, wow.
I'll make like Lauren excavate the capture from this podcast from that goddamn PC.
We're still live though, right?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we have redundancies.
Yeah, we got a backup.
It's nice looking over at your monitor and it's a giant blue screen and there's a sad face. Yeah. Thanks, Microsoft.
It's good to know that.
It's got updates to
that
install.
all technology has industries have their issues. I know we have tons of ours when we make video games.
Yeah, shit, man. We have to go with like gum and tape, and it still breaks. It's ridiculous.
I'm sure you can see all the wires behind there. It's great. Cool, man. Well, thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, Brian, thank you so much.
I really appreciate it.
Damn,
I hope
awesome.
you guys play the games November 10th in the States, 13th in the UK and Europe, and elsewhere in the world. I think it's the 12th in Japan. Please check out Rise of the Tomb Raider. It's going to be a dope game.
Please do.
Cool, man.
Awesome.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, step out of this.
And we'll continue podcast.
Yep. Give us just a second while we reorganize chairs.
Cool, man. Thank you.
Hey.
Yeah, you're a pro. You can talk and play.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, man.
I got the feeling you've done that before.
That's a rare trait.
All right, Adam, you can take pole position if you'd like.
Okay.
All right, Adam, you ready to kill some Ratmans? Again?
Hold on.
Uh-oh.
I never played this.
Yeah, well, you're about to.
Oh, man.
Oh, don't complain.
I don't know. Is this like a Diablo thing or
It's like a Left 4 Dead thing.
Left 4 Dead? Okay. Oh, wow.
Is it still
Yeah,
is it
it's so
going
blue.
crazy? Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, the color. Man, that was a hard crash.
Sure was.
Thanks, computer.
This is going to be a fun podcast to put together.
I'm sorry, man.
Oh, it's not your fault. It's too intense. Too much Lara.
Yeah.
Well, now's a good time to, well, you know what, I'll wait for the podcast to be normal again.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Live stream gets to enjoy the peek behind the curtain, though.
Well, you should live stream it, I guess.
Man, that Tomb Raider. That was a good, like...
Oh, shit, though. We're not live streaming to YouTube, right?
Nope, it's Ustream. That's going to be fun.
Huh.
Hopefully you can download from Ustream.
Let's hope so.
Well, the OBS whatever tapped at the same time.
What's up?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that I forgot that caps. Yeah. We have like 10 redundancies going on. I forgot that this thing filled up.
Man, good job of us.
Yeah. All right, we're good.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you want?
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, Left 4 Dead with rats. Cool.
Yep. And also, if you decide to travel the world and explore tombs, make sure you get a good rest with your Casper mattress.
Wow, nice one.
Yeah, I didn't have time to work up a good one, but Casper mattress is fucking phenomenal. Jesus, the older I get, and I've made this plea a few times, but the older I get, the more I realize you have to spend money on things that matter. And like buying an awesome Mega Man statue, that's really cool. But you spend 6 to 8 hours a day on a bed, so please invest money in that. And Casper mattress actually doesn't cost that much. You can get a twin for $500, which is really good for a bed. I got my first bed I bought out of college was like $1,200, and it actually wasn't that good. I suggest if I could go back in time, I would make Casper Mattress exist when I graduated college and then also buy one from them. They bring together 2 amazing technologies, latex foam and memory foam. They've got just the right sink and just the right bounce no matter how you sleep. That I can vouch for. It's, God, in this fucked up world where nothing goes right and PCs crash all the fucking time.
Careful with the F-bombs.
It's nice at the end of the day to relax your head on a bed that feels good all the time.
You talk about spending your money on what's right. Didn't you once spend $30 on 30 anime DVDs?
Yes.
You threw out most of the box?
I gave them to Elise, and then she donated them.
Oh, okay.
To some... Listen, I gave a gift to people. Also, that was before I had or knew about a Casper mattress. So if your finger is hovering over the checkout of a discount box of 30 anime DVDs, I beseech you...
I know.
I beseech you to instead spend that money on a Casper mattress. And now you can get $50 towards any mattress purchase by going to casper.com/dudesoup and using code DUDESOUP. So not only can you get a great mattress at a low cost, but you can get $50 off. They also have a guarantee. So if you don't like it, they will pick it up for you. That's in 100 days, by the way. So you have nearly, actually over 3 months to decide if you like this mattress or not.
Jeez.
But you will. That's a Sontai guarantee.
You have one, right?
Yeah, I do. They actually sent me one, which is fucking great.
Yep. F-bombs. Careful, buddy.
No, I'm getting excited about beds.
Okay.
I think they'll like my passion here. So once more, if all of my swearing has convinced you, please go to casper.com/dudesoup to check out Casper mattress. And if you decide to buy one, please use code DUDESOUP for $50 off. Thank you for your sponsorship, Casper. And thank you for my wonderful sleepy time every night. It's... In a hectic world where fucking everything goes wrong.
Okay,
we got it.
Thank you.
All right.
Ah!
Okay, can we clap sync now? Yeah,
Sure.
ready?
1, 2, 3.
Thank you. I got this guy over here, and I got map. Go to the map. Like I know.
Well, but here's the thing.
I know.
First of all, can you
Okay.
please change your character? Because the last time we did this, Bruce plays his character the whole time. It was really boring.
How do you change character?
Yeah,
have
he
no
just threw
idea.
a lot of fireballs.
I have no idea.
I think you do.
Also, there it is. Hero selection.
Or no, yeah, hit escape from this hero.
I
He did it. He got it. He's there.
All right,
All right,
There we
guys.
go.
Cool.
Now we can see
Rogue.
some cool stuff.
We got a choose your own adventure coming up.
Let's do a podcast. We're in a weird place, so
Oh, we're in a great place. What are you talking about?
we're everything's
Okay,
great.
so we got 2 stories can talk about.
Yeah,
little
what's up?
gibby gabs.
Yeah.
First of all, mod tools and map creation tools are coming to Black Ops 3 on PC.
Weird, right?
Interesting.
Yeah, very weird. Second of all, holy fucking shit, King got bought for a lot of money. Adam, why are profanities bothering you?
It's
all of a
weird.
sudden?
Like it's
He's still in interview mode. It's because there was someone in here
Yeah, it's so
who's
weird.
like a professional.
You
And
get
it's
really
not,
like buttoned up when you're
it's
talking.
strange when
It's because
We're professionals too.
I don't know. It's strange. Like it's like the end of the film Spy, where all she does is drop f-bombs. I'm like, this just feels so
I thought it was okay.
uncomfortable. No, the movie's great. The first 2/3 are.
But then all the
fantastic.
swearing.
So you made it to the end of Spy, so
It was funny. Okay, I had a good time.
I have no doubts.
Wait, so I can't pick my guy?
Listen, Adam,
What?
swearing.
No, they're taken. The other character.
That's
Swearing is
annoying.
wonderful.
Okay, go
So
on.
anyway,
$5.9 billion.
Candy Crush
Yeah.
is a better game than anything. It's the most successful game of all time.
Yeah.
Basically, it's really fun to break down because every time an acquisition happens like this, a lot of people are quick to say, not worth it, not worth it. And I'm not internet voicing here. I actually kind of agree that it's not worth it. But if you dig into it, it makes sense. And I think it's mostly because people don't understand how huge Candy Crush is. I was reading an article. I read a few articles about it. None of these are my own opinions because I don't have enough intelligence or experience in business acquisitions to form my own opinion on it. But a lot of the information that I read was, so here's the deal. The valuation of King was 20% over their current market price, which is, as a lot of analysts that I've read said, is pretty reasonable actually. The thing is, they're still on a gradual decline from their huge IPO. So they basically did their IPO. It did really well because at the time Candy Crush was the biggest thing in the entire world. It still is, but there's some. Actually, I don't know that for sure, but it's basically been slowly declining ever since then, and the stock price has followed. So the consideration now is it's not really that King was a bad pickup. It's more that Activision bought them at the wrong time. That King is in the middle of a decline, and had Activision waited a couple more years, they would have gotten them for less money, maybe something closer to their actual market value. I think it's important to note that King is also not just the developer of Candy Crush. They've made a number of other games that are popular but have not eclipsed Candy Crush.
Soda Crush.
Yeah. It was all soda drink.
Soda Popinski?
Yeah.
Soda Crusher?
Yeah, they don't veer too far from the source material, that's for sure.
Oh, I mean, that's intended. If you have the biggest thing in the world, you're going to name something else after it.
I don't blame them.
Yeah. And they've actually, to their credit, also tried very hard to make their other games a success. Most game companies, I guess I would source Rovio in this, if they get one hit, tend to ride it as long as they possibly can. Whereas King tried their best to diversify to some success.
Name 6 more Angry Birds games.
It's Angry Birds Space.
Yeah, Angry Birds Star Wars. Angry Birds 2.
Transformers.
There was a Angry Birds Transformers?
Yeah, there's also like an adventure game.
Really?
Yeah.
There's a movie coming out.
They're angry and they're birds.
Were we together when we saw the trailer for the Angry Birds movie, and we all looked at each other and were like, there were no jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
He didn't even seem that angry.
No, he wasn't that angry. I think he was going to counseling, but he didn't seem angry. And there were things that were about to make him angry, but then he was like, nope, I can't be angry.
Yeah.
And so the trailer that then hits the splash screen, Angry Birds, where? Also, I don't care.
I want my birds to be angry.
Yeah. 10 minutes in the movie, you just go out and demand for a refund at the box office. Bird's not angry enough.
So I guess the major takeaway from this is maybe we, as non-business people in non-business meetings, are potentially underestimating or underassuming sometimes the value of a dual business acquisition type situation.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying this to justify certain other claims that we've made in the past, but I'm just thinking that it may be maybe we don't realize the whole business spectrum that people are dealing with here.
Well, also, we've talked about this before. Like, it's not always just cash. They're not like, here's $5.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I think the problem with things like
it's
this
valuation.
is this comes down to, I mean, this is also sort of like, oh, God damn it.
Well, you're dead.
No, your entire
Well, now I can
gone.
talk. It's fine. This is sort of an issue
This is
with,
when you're supposed to blame your team, remember?
This is a clickbait world we live in, and it's so much easier to have a headline that says, Activision buys Candy Crush, $5.9 billion, and then you just look at it and go,
Stupid.
looks good, moving on.
The hot take.
Okay, yeah, there was probably years of negotiations of talks about this that started way back when or whatever. And then there's probably stock involved and other options, and like they probably have to meet certain goals, whether that acquisition goes through, similar with the Maker thing and Disney. Like there's so many different factors involved, but people don't have time for that. There's a new Warcraft teaser. I need to go watch that. That's easy. I need consumable content. Yeah. So
Speaking of Warcraft, glad you brought that up.
I'd rather talk about that than the Angry Birds.
Oh, we're not going to. It's going to be more Angry Birds.
Well, real quick, I think it's tied. It's the Reddit thread mentality of business, right? Or of almost anything. And
Armchair
listen, I'm
CEOs.
on Reddit too. I love Reddit, but like sometimes you're watching the thought processes there, and you're like, oh God, it's a bunch of people that don't know what they're talking about, that have no actual experience in this field, sharing their opinions from what they believe. There was a post a while ago that was talking about Donald Trump, who, don't get me wrong, I don't want to defend Donald Trump, but one of the posts was like, he was left something like $800 million or something by his father. When his father died, he was left $800 million. And now his net worth is this, which someone pointed out is less than if he had just put that money in like a basic savings account. So he hasn't
Like
really
adjusted for inflation?
like adjusted for inflation and stuff. It's less than if he had just like put the money in a savings account or some sort of low interest kind of secure fund and then taken it out today. And people are like, like, oh, look, he did, and he's the one who wants to tell us how to do business. And then someone had to point out and go, bro, that is the number that they're coming to. One, hasn't been confirmed, and two, is the total sum value of all properties in real estate. So what you're saying is he should have liquidated every single asset that was left to him to a cash pool and then put it in one account. It's like that's not how no one would do. It's not a matter of being stupid for business. That's not how anyone would do anything, It's
easier to, a lot of times, to have the black and white story. I was talking to someone about this at the Dude Soup Live thing, but I was saying someone was saying, they're like, oh, I appreciate the way you guys do your shows because you try to be more even-handed. And I was like, oh, thank you, as I stroke my own penis as we talk about this.
Yeah, we got thrown out.
Even-handed
for
in what
that.
sense?
Well, no. Well, one of the things I was saying is, oh God, that's really bad. But
Ooh, they're getting after it.
That's fine. One of the things I like to use as an example is the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. If you want to look at like the bare bones story, everyone goes, John Wilkes Booth killed him because he was mad. The end. And you're like, well, no. You should like read that story. Like, there's way more interesting aspects of that, but no one ever wants to talk about like the conspiracy theory and like the 30 other people are involved. They just go, no. Guy mad, slaves killed him. End of story. You're like, no, it's never that simple. So like with acquisitions and stuff like that, like there's always way more details that people just rather not be led to believe. Can you keep turning your head and looking at me? What's going on?
Adam, who did 9/11?
What? No. Well, I mean, that's a whole
John
other
Wilkes
thing.
Booth can't melt steel beams.
What the fuck? No. Read about it. They're like, there is a Wikipedia.
It's on the internet. Just
Read it. Just go to Reddit. There's tons of Reddit threads. They'll tell you who killed Lincoln, and it wasn't John Wilkes Booth.
Well, I mean, like it's shit I studied as a kid, but like there was a whole like coalition against the presidency and like all this other stuff. Like it wasn't just one guy versus one other guy, but that's the easier, sexier
there was
story.
a war happening at the time.
He did incite a civil war, kind of.
I'm just saying, like, if you were to ask someone to tell the story, like, John Wilkes Booth was mad, so he shot president, end of story.
Yeah.
They got the bad guy. And it's like, dude, no, not at all. Like, there's a whole lot of gray in between. It's not
like,
just black and white.
Because, like, did you know that earlier that night, Mary Todd Lincoln said that she had to go to the bathroom, but then she wasn't there? Why didn't she use the bathroom before he came in at the balcony? And they went to go say, it's no coincidence that the American president was shot at a performance of an American president. How?
You guys are really sidetracked.
No.
I
get your point, Adam.
I get what you're saying. It's not black and white. It's shades of gray.
It's definitely human nature to want to distill things down into comprehensible storylines.
Yeah.
It's kind of the Occam's razor of logic. A lot of people like grabbing onto that. Life is actually a lot more complicated and fuzzy, and something can happen right in front of you, and you can see it with your own stupid eyes and think that you know what's going on, and you can still be wrong. That's the thing that I think. That's, for me at least, that's when I embraced true adulthood, was when I was like, actually, I'm not really right about anything. I can just do a best guess. And everyone else is kind of doing that too. But the thing that has served me really well is trusting that every human being in their own way is trying to do the best they can. There's this weird assumption on the internet that everyone is stupid and they're making stupid decisions. Mm-hmm. Therefore, my evaluation of this is correct, because
I think you're half right.
Yeah?
I think there's a lot of people who don't know what the fuck that they're doing, and we're all trying our best.
Yeah.
Like, I think at the end of the day, like, that was you're talking about having an adult moment. I don't think a lot of people grow up. That's just the sort of thing. But like, we were just kind of playing pretend. We're like, yes, I'm an adult, and then you look in the mirror and go, fuck, I don't know what I'm doing.
You're eating a cheeseburger naked. There's like feces smeared on your stomach.
Ever have one of those moments, like, as a kid?
Oh shit.
Who, like, where some adult says something, like, I don't remember what mine specifically was. I just remember that it happened where an adult said something and you're like, that's 100% wrong.
Yeah.
Like, you as like an 8-year-old child.
That happened to me pretty quickly, yeah.
I was like, you're 100% wrong. I had a teacher who like was once read to us in class and was just like screwing up words, almost couldn't read, and stuff like that. And it was like a children's book. Like this was like 3rd or 4th grade or something, like pretty early on into learning. And at the time, my mom had come in because parents were supposed to join for this reading session or whatever. I felt bad for the teacher because being a teacher ain't easy. But still, my mom leaned over to me and she goes, everything she's saying is wrong. And I was like, oh, okay. And then like eventually I grabbed the book afterwards and I was looking at it and I was like, she was getting most of these words wrong. Like, it was just a weird moment where I was like, she's the teacher.
Yeah.
She's charged with my learning.
I remember pretty early. I remember like when I was 5 or 6 with certain teachers just thinking like, you're kind of a dick. Just like the way that they would talk to me and the way that they would treat me. And yeah, I was a kid, but I also remember thinking, you don't have to do that. You can level with me. Like, I'm not stupid. But yeah, that's those are weird moments.
And rudeness is different altogether. Just when you're just like, but you got it wrong. You're pretty certain you're right, but you got it wrong. You've been telling people you're right this whole time.
You're just wrong.
Like another example I was looking at this morning. So the other story, the Warcraft story, was that they're saying like World of Warcraft is down to only 5.5 million subscribers. I was like, we don't have a million free subscribers on our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
These guys have 5 million people giving them
every
money.
month, $15.
Fuck,
Yeah, I was
I'd
gonna
kill
say
for that.
$15, right?
Like, oh my God. And there was this one guy just in the comments. I think he was being downvoted. I couldn't tell because now Reddit does the thing where it just says score hidden because you're an idiot.
Oh yeah, I always click on those.
Yeah.
because people actually have some interesting feedback, and it's just contrary to the narrative building in the comment thread, and people voted out.
It is this funny thing where there is the one guy who's like, serves them right. Like, this is why people are fleeing their game. Like, the game's 11 years old and there's 5 million. Like, do you know how many people is 5 million? You child? Like, what is wrong with you? And they're like, Blizzard, they deserve whatever they get. It's like, they're making money on Hearthstone. Overwatch came out, we've played it, and it's probably one of the most addicting games we've ever played. I have my wallet out ready now to give them money. I'm like, they're fine. Like, they did. I remember you gave me the number for Diablo. It's like something ridiculous.
It's very large. I'm glad you brought up World of Warcraft.
How long does that go for? Either way, but yeah, I'm just saying, like, there are people, and like, there's people in the comments being like, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. He's like, I think I do.
Yeah, I played a lot of World of
But
Warcraft.
this is my opinion.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that you brought that up. The valuation that created Activision Blizzard had that entity valued at $18 billion. And that's far more than they bought King for, which is 5.9. Now here's the interesting bit. So World of Warcraft is down to 5 million active subscribers. Mm-hmm. Candy Crush, or rather King as an entity, has 7.6 million paying users per month. That company, as an entity, has more paying users per month than World of Warcraft, the world's most popular MMO.
Yeah, Activision now owns both.
Yes, they do. And also they have 500 million monthly active users. 500 million. That's now under the Activision Blizzard umbrella.
Ugh.
And
It's such a monopoly now.
I mean, it shouldn't be seen as just buying market share, but that's certainly a part of it, and that's certainly part of the valuation. And I think people still think of mobile games as a tiny little like boom and bust thing. Like, oh, you made Candy Crush. Well, there will be something else next year that'll just replace it. King has made other games that are doing very well. They just haven't matched Candy Crush. So comparatively, they aren't seen as successes. But that's one of those things where they bought one of the biggest players in mobile gaming. Now Activision has console, PC, and mobile. Yeah. Boom. They have the biggest properties in all of them. And I think just that alone kind of positions Activision as one of the, well, probably the biggest games publisher for the next 5 years, 10 years?
So they have children too with Skylanders, even though I know Disney Infinity is kind of taking over that, like, what do you call it? Toys to life. Toys to life. Wow. Whichever marketing guy came up with that is just jerking
I didn't make it up, man.
So hard.
That's the phrase.
No, I'm saying the guy who came up with it is.
Oh.
Well, you know what's interesting too? Like, we're not even counting. There's a whole wealth of user information too.
Yeah.
That's something that in this day and age is super valuable. Like, sometimes even more than the money. They know exactly what people are buying, how much they're buying, when they're buying it. So like now they'll know Call of Duty Black Ops DLC. Like, I don't think that it'll translate this directly, but say theoretically it did. An example might be that Black Ops DLC is going to drop at 1 a.m. Because they found that users are more likely to make, brash purchases or something like that during the evening on a Friday or whatever.
Get wrecked, go home, buy Call of Duty DLC.
These are kinds of things that are like pretty valuable.
Absolutely.
That
Amazon
when you have
and Google made a whole business around it.
Yeah, when you have a huge user base that's just like even just dropping little pennies here and there, like you still get access to all that information and it adds up.
Well, even beyond Amazon and Google, the more that this is becoming an issue, and also it's just the cyberpunk core of me that likes it. But there are online companies that just buy and sell user data. And that's what they make money off of, and because there's value to that. So yeah, if a company like Activision Blizzard now has all the user data from World of Warcraft, all the user data from Call of Duty, and then wrapping in all the mobile user data, which by the way is linked to Facebook, so that's basically people's entire lives all spelled out. If they can have a huge customer relations management, CRM, a huge CRM database of 500 million people and all of the info about their lives and the things that they like and the way to market to them. I'm not trying to pitch this as insidious, but that's incredibly valuable. If like you said, you're like, okay, we got DLC dropping, we need to find, if we can just run it through this machine and say, okay, let's buy ads to run on specific users, on specific games, because they are the most likely statistically to buy this game. Suddenly you're making, your return on investment on marketing goes through the roof, because you're able to quantify who actually wants to buy this shit and who doesn't. And then you as a user, theoretically it helps you too, because you're busy playing Candy Crush and you're like, oh shit, Black Ops DLC.
That's the thing. I do get, Amazon's pretty smart about it. They'll send me things like, hey, you kind of browsed this dildo for a little bit. Like, are you interested in RoboCop on Blu-ray?
20-gallon drum of lube.
Yeah.
I am interested in RoboCop.
That's not a random thing.
Yeah.
That's not random.
Really?
That's because they know for some reason that people searching for dildos also like RoboCop.
What's that scene where the thing pops out of his arm and then he shoves it in?
Yeah.
Could I fuck myself with that?
That's what he says.
Somebody has to. Okay, so people made like the spring-loaded Wolverine claws, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Somebody has to have both made the RoboCop spike and also have it be a giant dildo.
Sure.
I mean,
Dun,
it's
dun,
basically
dun,
what
dun.
you're describing is a dildo.
He shoves it in, then twists it. Women love that.
I'm sure there's a RoboCop XXX parody out there somewhere where he does that.
Well, what would
And then it causes money to
Bonocop?
spew
No,
out of
come
your
on.
mouth like an ATM.
RoboCock?
No, there was a
Right?
sad moment.
We'll look it up.
No, look at that.
I forgot when it
I'm
was.
looking it
It
up.
was like I think it was Bruce or like Ricky and Elliot or whatever. They got a shitload of like parody porn, and I remember it was really sad because it was just like Seinfeld, the XXX parody.
Yeah,
And I was
Seinfeld.
like,
They
that's-
fuck.
That's not even clever. Like someone found out in like some legal case, like we can just use the name and add XXX to it, and it's legal. We're fine to use it. And I was like, yeah, but that takes the creativity out of it.
RoboCock, 2012.
There you go,
I'm pretty
RoboCop.
sure those parodies.
Guess what the tagline
So your
is?
discrepancy, your problem is with the title,
Yeah, basically.
Oh, okay.
I think it
The
just
lack
shows
of
it shows a
creativity.
lack of initiative.
Yeah.
And
as
I was
opposed
like,
to Pornfeld or something like that.
what would you? Yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah,
Seinfuck.
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 That's a good one. Yeah.
Sign fucked. There has to be a D on the end of it.
And then he'd be called Kramer.
Kramer.
Nice.
Yeah.
That already exists.
No, we know it. We know Seinfeld XXX exists, but the problem.
Joel.
Kramer is his name.
It's his name.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right.
Well then,
There.
see, there's
Does that pass your
hey,
muster?
hey, people say we got to do clickbait. They got to do their clickbait too, even in porn. You
Yeah.
know.
Take that up with YouTube and the YouTube watching
We're
audience.
essentially pornographers.
I mean, yeah,
I agree
but
with that.
it's funny because it is kind of the same. But then once you go within, now you find the creativity. You know?
I've
Gotta
said
dig
it-
one layer in, just like that twisty fist dildo.
I need to find
dun, 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 dun.
I need to find a better way of saying this, but like we are essentially in the business of creating pornography for children.
Yeah,
like-
you gotta find a better way to say that.
No, there has
It's
to
on
be
your
there has to be a
business
much better.
Pornography has a specific definition. I only know because I was watching Nathan For You and it came up.
Oh, really? What does that mean?
Without spoiling too much of the most recent episode of Nathan For You, there's a character that shows up and describes some work he did in the past, and Nathan goes, "That's pornography." And he goes, "No, it's not pornography. It's something else. It's different. It was like, just naked pictures." Just naked pictures. He's like, did you have an erection? He's like, well, yeah, I had an erection. It's like, that's pornography. And then at the end of the episode, he walks up to him and he goes, this is the definition of pornography. This is what you did. No, we don't do pornography.
Well, I was thinking more of like there's an episode of 30 Rock where Cabletown or whatever is trying to make pornography for women because they're like women don't want to see nudes. They just want like someone who'll sit there and listen to them. Once again, that's not me saying that. That was the episode. So take it up with them. And it's like there's a channel where there's just a guy being like, "How was your day?" And Tina Fey's like, "Aw, like this is great," and she's like paying money for it. Like it was a funny episode. Regardless.
Women are dumb, Adam. You're right.
I didn't say that. That's
How come
Lawrence.
women don't like peas in their V? Huh? Why is that?
Take it up with your wife.
Just like it
I
with
don't know.
peas. Just like the peas, all right? Just then let's all get on the same page.
Give him
we'll get some
RoboCop on
peas
DVD.
going. We get
Wiggle
some
your
RoboCop.
eyebrows.
We'll get Kramer in here.
Get a squirt gun with lube on it and just start spraying her down.
This game, for those who can't see
Women
it,
love
I'm
that.
basically just stabbing rats
Yeah.
for like an hour.
We played this last time.
Remember Secret of Nim or whatever?
Yeah.
Adam didn't get to play it though, so I wanted him to.
Yeah.
I was hoping he would yell at his teammates like Bruce did.
No, I mean I don't care. I get it. I get what this game is.
Remember
You guys
Basil?
excited to make maps in Call of Duty?
Oh yeah, we were talking about that.
You were about to.
I mean, I could give a shit. It was got this fucker.
Take that, Von Har.
Yeah. Well, no, it was more
Too
of.
bad that you're not in interview mode anymore.
I think that's maybe
Oh, I love making maps.
maybe that's the sort of thing like what Halo's doing, where they're just. I mean, they basically have people making their own maps with Forge.
Yeah.
And they found a new way of making money with DLC, and it's just opening crates. So maybe that means they're going to be done charging for map packs.
Well, so here are the bullet points, and this is really all there is. They just posted it on the Kala blog. I'm not sure what it's called, but you'll be able to create maps and game modes and more. We will include unranked dedicated server files with the tools so you can run servers with modded content anywhere you choose. We will provide unranked server browsers so you can easily find and join servers with modded content. Closed alpha target date March 2016. So all you Steam boycotters. It worked. It really worked. Joining that group back in 2010, 11?
Maybe they're just chasing the what's it called? The Counter-Strike crowd. They're saying like, they're like, huh, this game that came out 3 or 4 years ago or whatever.
People like hearing fucking Little John scream every time they get a kill. We should have. Yeah.
I think it's what happens with AAA games. Like once they've gone as long as this, eventually they start adding in the features that they could have added in. They could have added in 5 years ago. Because then it feels fresh, but this is all part of their methodology.
You think?
This is why they didn't do it 5 years ago, so now they could do it today.
Man, I don't know. I think it's I tend to believe it's a question of time and money and prioritizing features that people actually enjoy and would use.
They did have a 3-year dev cycle on this one, so maybe they.
Yeah, that might be part of it.
Maybe that was part of it, and then just also, I mean, the landscape has changed. This goes back to the guy who was like.
Yeah, PC is way bigger now than it used to be.
Well, people talking about World of Warcraft, people are like, wow, what's going to be the next World of Warcraft? It's like, fucking nothing, dude. It's League of Legends. Like, the game has changed. It's no longer a monthly subscription base
Wait,
MMO.
what's your catchphrase, Adam?
What's that?
Everything has changed?
I guess. I said the game has changed.
I know. You didn't say it right.
I have a catchphrase?
Yeah,
you do.
Skyrim with guns or whatever?
No, well, there's
that's
that
the old
one.
catchphrase.
There was it was a really short-lived running gag.
I had a catchphrase?
Yeah, how can you not remember this?
You would go like...
You said it like twice in a row, and that was it.
Zip, zip, zoo, good day to you. And you take your hat
classic
off, and
Adam.
there'd be a tiny little bird on top of your head that
Bird would
tweet a
chirp,
couple
yeah.
times.
Sounds like me, I guess.
Man, Adam, you're such a good entertainer.
Yeah. You're like the Carrot Top of comedy.
You're the new Dick Van Dyke.
Feels like it. Can we talk about our Halloweens?
Modern Dick Van Dyke. Sure.
That's
I got
better.
to see a Black Sabbath cover band that was themed like McDonald's characters called Mac Sabbath.
That wasn't. Wow.
Yep.
Anyway, can we stop talking about Halloween?
Vegas is a cool
It
place.
was a good Halloween talk. Thanks for tuning in for Halloween chat.
I went to a tiki bar twice. It's fucking great.
Yeah.
Sounds like a Lawrence thing.
And I went to Vegas buffet because you gotta.
Yep. Which buffet?
Yeah.
Wicked Spoon.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it is.
That's
Yes,
the
it
one
is.
Which hotel's that in?
Cosmo.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
They have a build your
Yeah.
own mac and cheese bar.
Oh, they didn't have that when I was there. They had a,
I'd like some
it was
mac
brunch,
and
so
some cheese.
They had a build your own omelet bar, which you got to do. You know.
Bomb. Sorry.
I did have some good mac and cheese. Had sriracha in it. Yum.
Good.
I saw a lot of
They're all hurt over there.
Yeah, they're AI. They're
You
stupid.
gotta go up.
saw a lot of butts hanging out. That's cool.
That's Vegas, man.
Vegas
Well, also,
butts.
it's really cold there right now.
Do
so-
people pack their costumes and bring their costumes to Vegas to celebrate Halloween in Vegas?
I imagine there was a lot of that. Yeah. The traffic wasn't so bad either going or coming back. So I don't know that Vegas is a hot Halloween destination for Angelinos. They probably just go to West Hollywood. Like somebody here.
You know they're building a train, right?
Joel, come over here. Oh, really? To Vegas?
Yeah. Well,
Fucking
kind of.
finally.
You have to go to San Bernardino, which
Joel,
is like what?
tell me all
an hour
about
from here?
your big gay party.
Well, I would like to say the party wasn't super gay, but it really was.
Explain.
It's not a bad thing.
Well, Dan and I were dressed as the emotions, fear, and disgust from Halloween, from Inside Out, from Halloween, from the movie Halloween.
Yeah.
And then there were people there. There was a guy dressed as Wendy Williams there, which was pretty gay.
Oh, wait.
Also, wait. Hold on. Describe
Yeah.
describe where you were. Which location?
Well, Lawrence just said
Hollywood.
West
West
Hollywood.
Hollywood.
I didn't hear that. I'm
Which
sorry.
is basically Boys Town in Los Angeles.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank
And
you.
they shut down Santa Monica Boulevard through the entire city, and they have 500,000 people show up, and everyone has pretty amazing costumes. Although this year the costumes kind of sucked.
There's no animatronic wings that were just clipping people that were trying to walk past.
Not this year.
Spraying feathers everywhere?
My former roommate actually, though, did full Nux from Mad Max. Like painted his whole body. He did latex engine block on his chest, like scars.
Wow.
He had 2 little tumors. He shaved his head. He did the whole makeup. That was pretty incredible.
Yeah, but at the end of the night, he still had to go home, stare in the mirror, and go, I can't go to sleep until I get all this off of me.
Oh no, he didn't care about that.
Oh.
He was passed out from way too much
Oh,
alcohol.
that's the trick. Pass out so that way you don't have to worry about it.
Yep,
Sunday,
and then
you just wake
And then
up.
all the paint will flake off of you at night, in the middle of the night.
You'll be reborn like the Phoenix.
And then I also went to a James Bond party the night before. I went as James Bond, and Dana went as Moneypenny.
Which James Bond?
Yeah, I was gonna
Which
say.
Moneypenny?
Is there a Jewish James Bond?
Yep.
Yeah.
Jaime Bond.
It's actually part
George
of the Jewish.
Lazenby.
It's part of the
Classic Jewish
conspiracy
name,
to control the world.
Lazenby. So yeah, that was my Hallows End.
Cool.
What about y'all?
Sounds like you had a great time.
I hung out with James and Elise.
Adam and I went to a party with Elise.
I went to the Birch twins were having
right.
a party,
They're twins.
and I
was the
drunkenly challenged Ash to a game of Smash Brothers, and
Yeah,
she
that was
ruined me.
That was
Nice.
really funny.
That was really fun. I was like, I can play Link. Oh god, this is a GameCube. Oh fuck.
You
Oh
killed
fuck.
her. It was just the two of them, no items. just pure smashing.
You have to realize
and it was
that was
Melee. Actually,
Adam-
it was Melee.
Yeah.
Adam on GameCube.
I was
Her
and
job
she was
is
wave dashing all over your face.
She can wave dash? Shit, that's
yeah,
legit.
she was playing as Peach, I think, and I was like, I'll be Link, and I was like, I'm not very good with Link.
A is attack, right? She's
Yeah.
just like, oh god.
Her job is to sit at home and play old video games and then talk about playing old video games.
Her
And your job is to have
to
as a
sit
job.
around-
Did she hustle you out of money?
I don't think that's her job.
I don't think that's her job.
No, I'm pretty sure that's it.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. Well, you were there.
Yeah. Joel Rubin, ladies and gentlemen.
arbiter
That's the
of
one who said
jobs.
that.
So yeah, we went to a party. Adam was,
We're never sarcastic on this
Adam
show.
was dressed as the cowboy I dressed as 4 years ago.
Yes.
But then he took off the hat, so it was basically him just in a tight pleather vest with this tight scarf around his neck.
That's kind of why I have a
in West
must.
Hollywood.
So he basically was just
It was
a gay
hot
cowboy.
in that place, though. We went to they had like a house and like kind of near us, and like it was just warm. It was really fucking
Well, there were a
warm
lot
there.
of people
party,
there.
man.
Yeah, there were. A
Yeah,
lot of
we were
People
standing up.
partying, dancing.
Also,
Now,
your
what was the
hat,
best costume
Your hat
there?
was a little tight.
people. The best
got a small head.
costume there. Some guy was dressed as Cobra Kai.
Oh, who was that?
Some
That was
asshole.
me.
Yeah.
So on I guess Friday or
Oh,
Saturday.
Two Guns was the best costume.
Oh, Two Guns.
Two
Two
guns.
Guns.
Two Guns was a lot.
So
No.
he's a
Shaggy
friend of
Two
mine.
Dope?
His
Nope.
he's a friend of mine, and his costume, he had two holsters with guns in each of them.
Okay.
And a big 2 written on his chest. And we were like, what is he from? Like, is that a comic or something? So I went up and I asked him, Elise and I asked him, and he goes, oh, you know that show, Knife Gun? And I went, no, not really. He's like, oh, well, Knife Gun is a guy, he has a gun and he tapes a knife to it, so it's a gun and a knife. Yep. And then he goes, I'm his sidekick, like his partner, Two Guns, who's a guy that carries 2 guns. And we're like, I've never heard of that before. He's like, oh, I made it up. He's like, I made it up. He's like, I made up the premise for the show and everything, but I decided to dress as him. I was like, okay, that's funny. That's a little wacky. That's a little funny.
Yeah.
But then, like, a lot of times I would overhear him explaining it to people.
Yeah.
And people would be like,
And I was like, that must get really annoying.
Yeah.
Until someone else showed up as at the party as another one of the side characters from his made-up show.
Did he
called
tell
Knife
everybody?
Whip.
Did he tell everybody else that he had made up the characters, or just you?
No, he conceded. Basically, he's like, yeah, like I made a show called Knife Gun.
I think it'd be really interesting to walk around and say that without conceding that you had made up the characters, to see how many people were like, oh yeah.
I think the answer is basically nobody.
I do want to say
there's a girl there in a really good Princess Mononoke costume.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw someone go like, who are you? She's like, oh, I'm Princess Mononoke. And they just went, ah. And I'm like, well, if you
And
don't
then
know,
someone
I
went,
can't
is that
help you.
2 Guns over there?
Oh, Two Guns.
Oh, Two Guns made it.
I saw the best costume online though this weekend. Somebody dressed as Sean Poole for
Yeah, I saw
Halloween.
that.
Oh yeah,
That's weird.
Oh, man.
He had a flannel shirt on top of a t-shirt.
Nailed it.
He had a little cap on.
Guaranteed to get laid at whatever party he went to.
$10 joint in his back pocket.
Yeah.
So knife whip. Was this a whip with a knife on the end of it,
Yes.
or a knife with a whip on the end? of it?
No, it's a whip with a knife at the end of it. Actually, three whips, several knives. But he had lost one of the knives. And there was a lot. Every single question I had for him about Knife Gun, or any of its supplemental characters, they were all answered. So he had the production Bible in his head, which I appreciated.
Gave you the full experience. Did he have spec scripts in his car to sell Knife Gun?
No.
I always hope that somebody's going to go to a Halloween or a Hollywood Halloween party and think this is it. I got my costume on point.
Yeah.
I got my handshake all down. Got my business cards ready to go. This is it. This is my breakout.
It was a little weird too because I was at the Comic-Con in London a couple days just before, so I kind of felt like I was already saw Halloween for the last week.
Oh yeah.
It was a little strange where I was like I'm a little costumed out. Like I don't know. I don't really need this.
Something I did notice this Halloween, which is the first time I've ever noticed it. Joel's guilty of it, but then other people I spoke to over the weekend were also guilty of it. They referred to what you do during Halloween as cosplay,
Oh yeah.
which is interesting, and I'm like,
Technically it is.
I mean, it is, but it kind of.
People don't dress up as spooky things anymore.
But
if you go as Iron Man, you're cosplaying.
I'm guilty of pointing that out, or I'm guilty of doing that?
you did that.
If you dress up as a Frankenstein,
did.
it's a Halloween costume.
It's in the open house.
But if you're if you're Wonder Woman, that's cosplay.
I don't know. I think if you're dressing up for Halloween, you're dressing up for Halloween. You're wearing a costume.
I agree.
Cosplay is when you are looking for an excuse to.
Which is Halloween. Halloween is
dress
supposed
up.
to be spooky.
No,
If
not
you're not dressing up as
necessarily.
a spooky thing, you're just dressing up because you have an opportunity to. That's cosplay.
When does it become costume business?
Careful, Lawrence.
Yeah, I think.
Careful, what?
No, but Halloween is a day where everyone's agreed you can do whatever the fuck you want to do. Dress up however you want.
Just like comic conventions.
Some people in West Hollywood, I'm sure, just had a really tight Speedo that had the American flag on it.
What about the sexy costumes, Lawrence? You're gonna get rid of the sexy.
It's just like a comic book convention. I'm not getting rid of anything. I'm just
That's
saying.
exactly what Abraham Lincoln looked like before that conspirator John Wilkes Booth showed up.
Joel's gonna suspiciously excuse himself to the bathroom.
Cosplay can be used for any other day that doesn't require a costume. If you go to a costume party, you're not cosplaying for it.
Sure you are.
No, you're wearing a costume.
Comic-Con is a big costume party.
If
then.
you're in London the Saturday before Halloween, and you're just going to a place where other bunch of people are going to be there, then you're cosplaying.
Wait,
That's what Halloween is.
wait, is cosplay?
No, it's not, because Halloween is on Halloween.
Is cosplaying, does that require you to role play as your character? Is
No.
that why
No,
it's cosplay?
some people would say yes, but no. Again, a cosplay culture is pretty deep, Spool. All right, that's it. We're done with the podcast.
Oh,
The whole
boy.
podcast?
Yeah. You guys are wrong about bullshit.
No
so
way.
that's
Cosplay is every other day.
it. Podcast is canceled. Fuck
Every
you
other
guys.
day where it isn't agreed upon
Nope.
that costumes will be present.
Yeah,
Can we title this podcast "Everyone is Wrong Except for Lawrence"?
that's what they're all titled.
Okay.
I thought that was the subtitle of the show.
good.
Why don't you watch the show online, Evan?
We're done. Get up.
All right. So
Get up
we
now.
walk away now?
Yeah, I'm
or?
doing the Bruce thing. Get up.
Okay.
Come on, we're done.
Gotta
All right.
go.
Thanks everybody for watching.
I missed Tomb Raider because this game's not fun.
Oh shit. Well, thanks.
It's okay. Maybe if it was more co-op
unfun.
friends. It's okay. I think the AI and
it's not an
random-
interview about Vermintide. Get up.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody.
It's not an interview either. It's a review. Jerk.
If you can just hang out with people and play the game for an hour and get your impressions in and people understand whether they like the game, I mean, the value there isn't necessarily that you're padding out your content. It's that you're not killing yourself trying to make a game review, which is 30 hours of play, 10 hours of capture, 10 hours of edit,
Right.
2 hours of VO and writing. Like,
And just like before, people seem to respond to the authenticity of the natural play session in a way that they don't to the book report style of Vermintide is a game from these developers. It is similar to Left 4 Dead in many respects,